I was introduced to the fashion technology program at HCC, and then my career in design started. I learned the technical craft of designing, which I absolutely fell in love with, because it was like an idea, creating something. One thing that took some while to mature in was my content, like what was I going to talk about? I would be enamored with these designers, these couture designers, and how they created their collections. What is that thing, that they would be able to pull from, and that would basically give them their identity? For me, I didn't know what it was like to grow up in New York or the major cities, but I know what it's like to grow up in Kalu. So I figured that would be a great segue, is to find a way to bridge indigenous culture with design. I draw deep inspiration from indigenous culture. We can look at Keola Naka'ahiki in terms of like how he was able to remain resilient or create this lahui that we revere today. He was able to see things in other people and use that for his advantage. Take, for instance, Isaac Davis or John Young, where they had valuable experiences outside of Hawaii, but he used their experience to be able to build his mindset, build his plan, his thought on how lahui should work. And then he was able to empower his younger chiefs and the people around him. How we were able to pull inspiration from that is we're a brand that designs hats and t-shirts and shoes and headwear, and we sell it in our store. But we're in the middle of the ocean. And I think that that's one of the hardest things to do, is to build a brand here in Hawaii. From the start, we were able to use other people's experiences, our friends that were in the mainland that were experiencing different types of market growth. You can look at being in Hawaii as a big problem. Like, you guys too slow out there, or you guys don't get stuff fast enough. But for us, we always felt that the stage, we were the only ones on the stage, and everybody was looking at us. That we got to the east, we have the States, and then to the west is Asia. And we're in the middle of both of them. So we're able to equally touch each shore if we properly channel our ideas out that way. And then also taking inspiration from him, how he was able to use innovation. At the time when we started, there wasn't no social media really. That we had a blog spot, and then now there's social media, there's websites, web sales, and we utilize all of the innovative tools that are available. And that's how we were able to build resilience, along with our production schedule and the highly conceptual product, sharing ike, sharing stories, being able to create a robust story around a product is something very unique to us. I was just thinking about how much of a bold statement it is to jump on Va'a with your whole family and travel across the ocean and not knowing where you're going. It's kind of similar to when COVID hit and we had to shut our store down. It was like, where are we going? Okay, let's gather everybody and let's come up with a plan. And the plan was to remain as lean as possible, to see if there's techniques that we can apply, because we were already positioned so somewhat in this really condensed calendar schedule where we work, only a few months ahead as opposed to 6 months to a year and a half. So we're able to pivot a little bit. And then when supply chains got really tight, then we had to pivot again because we weren't getting any product in. We were faced with sort of that same, right? That scarcity, like true scarcity of food. Okay, we might not have food. We have to figure out a plan, and we have to plan that way. And this lasted for, 2.5 months, where what we felt was important was remaining consistent in our releases. So every Tuesday and Saturday, we had to provide product. Our only lifeline was our website. So when I say we were in the good position for it, it was, we were already as lean as possible. We are already on a condensed calendar. We're already innovative in the techniques that we use to disseminate content and also release product. So all of those things created our solution, or what I like to call it, how we ward off attrition. every day we make it, we're getting closer and closer to making it out of this thing. Small businesses in general are the understory of a forest, and it keeps the soil together and keeps the water packed in there, right? It's like a circular thing. And what I think Hawaii can learn from is from that soil. We got so much talent, like creative talent here in Hawaii, that we're not tapping into them properly, or the way that I see it. There's artists and designers and builders and craft makers, and there's so much resiliency happening already here. We need to be able to tap into that. We only have 1.2 million people in Hawaii. If we're not looking outside for revenue or for market share, then we're only dealing with a small amount of revenue, and it's almost impossible to sustain life in one of the most expensive places here. We also have to think about how we in this next turn, right, in this next huli, that we're able to export more than we import. Because who knows if people are going to get on a plane as much as they were before. How we recontextualize that is going to be very important moving forward. And if we can, think about this, if we're able to sell tourism without a tourist coming here, right? That's what we should be thinking. Finding out a solution for that, right? How does someone in Nebraska play in Hawaii without having to get on a plane? I don't know, but if there's some creative people around to come up with some ideas, I think that's like some of the things we should be thinking about, not having everything in one basket. We always felt that fitted represented that identifying culture. As someone who grew up here, I can wear this and be anywhere in the world and feel like I'm, you know what I mean? I can participate, I can play. Like, you don't have to be present to play. So like, there's three types of people. The person who's been here and wants to come back, person who's born and raised, never wants to leave, and the person who's never been and wants to come. We call it the secret, but we really feel like this place has an essence and an energy that draws people here. And I think that you can still feel that energy without coming here. It's like the idea of like, no matter where you are, you close your eyes, you put on our hat, you listen to some green or some local music, and your toes is in the sand, right? You're in Rockaway Beach, New York, but your toes are in the sand at Sandy's or Pipeline or whatever, right? It's a secret, right? It's the essence, the spirit of the place.